If you live in or around Nashua, New Hampshire, here is the most recent market update. I'm filming this in the month of December, looking back at what happened in November compared to October and other previous months. So before I dive into that, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to make sure you don't miss out on future videos outlining future changes in the real estate market that are likely to occur going into 2023. In November, the amount of new listings coming on the market was 36% down compared to October and 35% down compared to November of 2021. Looking at sold listings, we saw an 8% decrease from October to November and a 20% decrease looking at November 2021 versus November 2022. So both sold and new listings were down, but something I want to point out here is it is quite normal to see month over month decrease in activity this time of year because of the holidays, the seasonality, winter time, etc. Yes, we had less activity in November of this year compared to November of last year, but we also want to take into account that last year was probably the hottest real estate market in history. And so of course, we knew it wasn't going to be sustainable and last forever. So we're starting to see some level of normalization. The gaps are still pretty wide as far as a 20% decrease in sold listings, but a 35% decrease in new listings coming on compared to November of 2021, meaning that we still have a low inventory issue and we're still likely to remain in a seller's market for the foreseeable future. Looking at median days on market as well, they're still hovering around 7 days in Nashua. This is not to say some homes aren't taking longer to sell, because I am seeing more homes start to sit a little bit longer than they were before, but there are still several homes selling relatively quickly. A week really isn't that long. A very interesting stat is price point. So even though we're seeing less activity over the last couple of months, pricing has come down, but very little. We're talking about 1.5% from October to November. We're actually still higher than last year price point wise. We actually saw 7.7% appreciation in median sales price looking at November 2021 to November 2022. So even though activity is down, sales are down, prices are still pretty high, hovering between median sale price of $405,000 to $410,000 in Nashua. Lastly, the absorption rate in Nashua was about 63% in November. We still have less than 2 months of inventory, and we really need to get to the 5 to 6 month inventory level to start to see a balanced market before we even go into a buyer's market. So what does all this mean? There's a lot of numbers there. As a buyer, take advantage of this market. There's less buyers out looking, and so you have less competition, there's less bidding, and you have more opportunity to get your offers accepted. Sellers, I would tell you the same thing, that you also want to take advantage of this market because there's less options out there for buyers to choose from, aka there's less listings, which is naturally going to give your listing more attention and give it a better chance of selling for what you want to get for it in the time that you want to sell it in. One thing I want to point out, both buyers and sellers, I'm starting to see more homes fall out of contract due to financing and come back on the market. This is not a super big surprise based on what's going on with rates and people's financial situations, but you want to make sure if you're a buyer that you're contacting your lender, you're keeping them updated with any changes that take place, and also talking to them ahead of time to know what things to avoid while you're under contract that could jeopardize you being able to buy that house. As a seller, you want to make sure your agent is talking with the buyer's lender ahead of time before you accept the offer to make sure there aren't any blatant red flags so that you're comfortable accepting that offer and proceeding with the deal. Most importantly, if you do have other questions about either Nashua real estate or surrounding towns in southern New Hampshire or northern Massachusetts, feel free to send me an email at sboghigian@kw.com or click the link below and visit my website. I would be happy to give you more personalized information and data based on your specific location and situation. Every neighborhood, every house, and every person or client is going to have a specific situation, and they're going to need specific data based on that. So feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to answer any other questions you have. Otherwise, I will see you in next month's market update.